In a Sunday's Truth, I'm actually going to go, I'm not going to go live, but I'm going to do a video recording of this as well. Of course, it's going to go to Spreaker, it's going to go to YouTube, and the tweets and stuff will go out again. I made an error, but I'm going to move forward because the information must be conveyed, and it has kind of been on my spirit to do. So give me 1 second, and I am going to attempt at video recording this as well, because normally my Sunday's Truths are video recorded for YouTube. So stand by. And yeah, we are going to get it. What's going on? It's your girl Fathom DJ here with a Sunday's Truth. So it's kind of been on my spirit for the last couple of days, maybe more than a couple of days, based on the idea that someone said something to me a couple weeks ago, and I kind of want to expound on it based on my experience, of course, in hopes that it will help someone else. That is part of the reasons why I do Sunday's Truths. It is me relieving ideas. It is me going through my process, and also me sharing some of my thoughts. So a couple of weeks ago, and I think I mentioned this in an earlier posting, a couple of weeks ago, someone mentioned to me that she had ran into a few people that she thought should know me, but didn't know me, based on Chicago and DJs and things of that nature. So this Sunday's Truth, once again, is called Chicago, the World, and You. My experience of Chicago has always been different, and I think that I've said this before as well. All of my life, entirely, people have assumed that I wasn't from here. Always somewhere else. My memory serves me correctly. I do recall the first time that it really resonated for me was probably in high school. And someone was just like, "You're not from Chicago, are you?" And it just kind of echoed out. The idea that it continues to be a question that is asked sometimes bothers me, and I have to keep going because this is live. I would redo the video, but it's live and I'll make mistakes and things of that nature, but please just bear with me. It bothers me sometimes. So I was sitting the other day and I was looking at a few promoters' posts and stuff like that, and I know that I've had tenure in this city for quite a while in terms of nightlife and DJing and things of that nature. And I was just like, these people know what I do. They know where my love lies in terms of the types of music that I play. They don't reference me at all. And so I had to go through this process because of the fact that I'm not like them. And it's a grander scheme for everyone. The idea that I'm trying to convey to those who will receive this message is kind of based on cliques and crews and how people kind of roll together. And they roll together, a lot of folk roll together without thought of why. And I sat with my mother the other day, and it really kind of rang loudly. She said something to me, and it reconfirmed the concept of who I am based on who she is, based on how we roll. And I'm very blessed to be individual in thoughts and ideas. And that is not to say that I don't always agree with people. It's not to say that I might come off to some folks as being difficult or hard to understand. And that is one of the reasons, again, why I do Sunday's Truths, is to kind of give you a grander scheme for those of you who won't ever have an opportunity to have conversation with me, who won't ever be able to reference me directly, although it's kind of odd to me that we have all these communications and people may not reference you directly. But that's another story. And I know this is something that just happens. People are kind of herded together. The idea that a lot of folks who are in Chicago went to U of I suggests herding together. And may not suggest difference in individuality. Social media may not suggest difference in individuality, because we are all looking at likes and numbers and who knows who and how folk are connected. And if you're not popular, people don't necessarily know you. And for those folks who don't get curious enough, and there is courage that comes in curiousness. Curiosity has a line of courage. You have to be curious, and then you have to step out in order to get to know people. It's easier simply to clump folks and throw them aside. And I think especially in terms of DJing in this city, when I got the tag that I played more than dance music, or when things started to change and more people started to reference hip-hop, and I have a love for that as well, I got tagged. And that is part of the reason why, one of the reasons, I'll say, I won't go into detail, but one of the reasons why I don't get tagged so much with house music, because Chicago has had a mentality that says, if you're house, stay house. Don't listen to woogie music. And that's an old school term. But it is a term that denigrates those people who listen to certain types of music. Categories, clumping, popularity, and all of those things have always challenged me. They have always created obstacles for those people who are different. I am living proof of the idea of the amount of confidence that it takes in order to be different and stand strong in it. I was in a room last night with a bunch of people who are artists, who are writers, who are educators, who are creatives, and we kind of all bound together under this huddle of a place and a space to be creative, to be free, and to be allowed to express that freedom and that creativity. And this hits me very deeply because the realization that social media adds another piece to the idea of crews and cliques, and not necessarily a space for the individual, not necessarily a space for the creative person. When you look at numbers and you look at likes and you look at popularity, and that is how you gauge everyone, it's a very unfair brush that folks are being painted with. I think it's a very unfair thing that happens in society, and of course it's being perpetuated by the state of social media. So it isn't started by social media, it is maintained. What you get when you step out on faith and you have an opportunity to venture to be curious enough to allow your imagination to flow is the concept of being able to gain confidence, to step away from the group and to do your own thing is part of the reason why we are here in these northern states of America. Of course, I'm going to twist a Black History piece on it because it is Black History Month. Harriet Tubman stepped away. She stepped away. She stepped away from everyone who did not believe in her. She stepped away because she had a feeling that she needed to find a way. And people didn't believe her. People poo-pooed her. They thought she was crazy. They thought that she was foolish and what have you for going forth and seeking a different level of freedom. I reference her a lot because I know where I am in terms of what I'm doing. It's part of the reason why I cast such a feverish net, a wide net with my web presence. I'm going to cast wider nets. I encourage those who have dreams and ideas to cast their net on the internet, specifically in terms of web presence, so that you don't get bound to the people in your neighborhood. So you don't just get bound to the people who are in a group, so that you possibly have opportunities that lie outside of the group that you could belong to or be associated with by categories. Now, I must say that, of course, the internet has categories. Of course. Hashtags are categories. Mixes have categories in terms of genres. And things of that nature. But people who don't know you will potentially stumble upon your work, stumble upon what you're doing, and reference it in that way. It is important. It's important to do and to try. Of course, connecting with people one-on-one is most certainly important because it gives you an opportunity to drive the points home. For people who will meet you in the real world, who have no connection to you elsewhere, they may just Google you. They may search for your work online. That would be the only reference point that they have of you outside of that stumbling on you in real life. Somebody will roll up on you and be like, oh my God, we were at this event and I met this DJ and I had never heard of her before and now I have to go find her work on the net. If you're not on the net, if you have no web presence, if you have no social media sites, if you have no website, then you just lost the opportunity to be met differently. There's a freedom that lies in these spaces that most certainly does not lie in you only hanging in a group. I don't want to belittle the concept of having groups because the hope is that people meet each other and interchange information and connect and then spread the information as it goes. One of the issues that I faced in Chicago, and I know it is not just Chicago, is the fact that people only reference the folks that they know and they never venture out. Somebody has to spark the idea of venturing away from everyone that they know. Like, the scenes recycle people. Recycle. It is hard for those who are new and different to crack that shell and to get utilized based on the concept that there is a go-to person that everybody just seems to go to. That is popularity. We don't want to denote the idea that you are not talented. We don't want to denote the idea that you cannot move forward in your process, that you cannot be utilized if you do not hang with those particular groups and cliques and crews. This is where confidence has to be built and learned for individuals. This is long, y'all. I'm sorry. I've been pondering and thinking about it. I think about it often because I am a Chicago native, because one of the genres of music that I love was created here, and I hardly get referenced by any of the promoters and people who do parties for that particular genre, which is house music, dance music, and one of my favorites, which is soulful house music. And everything is changing in that realm. But I needed to bring this to you so that you understand that regardless to who doesn't accept you, that there is someone who will accept you, that there's someone who will be curious about what it is you do and how you do it, and how you do it individually enough that they may reference you, they may want to work with you. Now, where I am uncomfortable at in this, that I have to allow myself to get uncomfortable with, is venturing back out and going places I've never been before and meeting people that I have not met who don't know of my work. And this is the reason why I appreciate being aligned with Revolving Door Arts Organization and folk who are doing things that are different, who don't hang in crews and cliques that I know of, who don't know me. I'm more interested in meeting people who don't know me, who don't have an association, who, can't pigeonhole or, put you under a particular type or category with certain folks. And I'm a standalone kind of chick. I've tried to organize, I've tried to promote with people, I've tried to create groups of promoters and things of that nature. And I wouldn't say try, because we've done that. But what drives it home for me is me being individual and me opening my mouth, using my mouthpiece, me coming to you the way that I come to you, to bring you the information that I bring you, and casting the net that I cast. Casting a wider net requires more work, but gives you the opportunity to get better fishing. Get it? Yeah. So that's what this is about for me. Chicago, the world in you says, wherever you are does not make or break you. It can make you, but because you're surrounded by a particular thing does not mean you shouldn't seek other, that you should not reach further, that you should not navigate outside of the path that has been beaten. Because if you're creative, you most certainly can create your own path, and you most certainly can find people who are doing the things you do outside of the normal spaces for doing it. It's long, y'all. I'm sorry. I apologize. But I wanted to send you this message, and I hope that it resonates for you. I hope that you receive the information just as you have the other pieces that I've left you, which are Sunday's Truths, which are housed again at Spreaker and YouTube. I'm not sure if I'm going to post the video for this on YouTube, because it might be overdoing it. I think you can get the information enough that way via Spreaker. But this is my thought for today. This is where I am for today. And not just for today in terms of my doings, but for always. I'm casting bigger nets. I want you to throw out a bigger net. I want you to be inspired and encouraged to do so. so that you get the opportunity to see the universe work for you when you go in places that are uncharted, that have not been overly used. When you reach out in spaces and places and communicate with people differently, you can see the power of the universe work for you, and that's part of the law of attraction. And that's all I'm going to say. I bid you cosmic kisses and well wishes to your day and week. You can find Fathom DJ now at findingfathomdj.com. In your worldwide webosphere, you most certainly can search the hashtag findingfathomdj. And if you need inspiration, if you need someone to talk to, I most certainly am referenceable in a lot of capacities. So that's it for today. Space.